feel like we're about to see something from the Indiana Pacers this year. They had a really nice offseason and their pieces fit really well together. They were good when Tyrese Halliburton played last year. Like that was a team that was in the mix for the play-in, close to rising above it. Then Halliburton gets hurt. They fall off. They fall to the bottom of the standings, and they kind of, wallow in kind of forgettableness for the rest of the season. They bring in Obi Toppin. They bring in Bruce Brown, who I think is going to fit wonderfully. And now all of a sudden they have this offense that is going to flow. We'll see what ends up happening with the Buddy Hield situation, but that offense is going to flow. Halliburton's only getting better. That dude is going to be a perennial all-star. You got Miles Turner, who is coming off the best year of his career, by the way. We've had Miles Turner on the trade block for the last 47 years, but he's still only in like his mid-20s, and he literally had his best season ever last year. Remains one of the league's best rim protectors, and he's going to stretch the floor to where you have to guard him at the three-point arc. And now you've got your offense with all of these cutters coached by Rick Carlisle, who implements a motion offense like few other coaches in existence. And you're going to have Bruce Brown on short rolls facilitating. You're going to have Obi Toppin cutting from the corner. They're going to be really dangerous in transition, I think, with Toppin and Halliburton. They have a lot. There's young talent there. Like that team, if I have to pick one team to make a leap from out of the playoffs to into it, that's the one that I'm choosing. I think that could be really fun to watch.
Calling top 6 type playoff.
I have to run through it. I might have him at 6 or 7. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna put him at 6.
There we go. There we go.
I could feel Slater pushing. He's trying every week now. We're gonna get Fred to get aggregated.
Well, he comes on, and he's ready to hype. And I'm like, how hype are we going?
Let's put him at 6. He did the same thing to me with the Cavs last year, and I was dead on. So let's
look at that flex.
Let's put him at 6. I think
this is just Fred's continued efforts and impressively so to just make sure that it's not just a Bucks Celtics Eastern Conference conversation. I like this.
Name an Eastern Conference team you like the Pacers more than, which would surprise people.
Atlanta?
Yeah. Knicks?
No, I think the Knicks are in that 4-5 range. I think the Pacers are like 6. I think the Pacers are 6.
Trying to create
I really would have them at 6, not just because Slater was pushing them. I mean, I think they're better than Atlanta. They're for sure better than Brooklyn. They're better than Toronto. They're better than Washington. I think they're better than Miami. Is that gonna shock the world?
I mean, Miami won the East last year, so
that's a good one.
Yeah,
I feel like.
So I say I'll have them ahead of Miami.
Even more emo after this take.
I'm worried. I'm just worried about Miami. Like, look,
you should.
I'm probably gonna be wrong, but Max Strus and Gabe Vincent were really important for them.
Yeah, they're not there anymore, right? Yeah, that's right.
And look, that team last year, it's not like that team was phenomenal the whole season. They still have the 7th best record in the East. By the way, I feel conflicted about calling them the 2nd to 8 seed to go to the finals because they really had the 7th best record in the East, but they lost the play-in game. So they were the 8 seed, but they really are like a 7 seed that made it to the finals. So I'm a little conflicted.
Which, by the way,
how many
7 seeds over time have made the finals?
None. Which is fine, but I'm just conflicted about calling them an 8 seed in this day of the play-in tournament. But I think Indiana. I mean, what say you guys on Indiana? I think they have the chance to be the most fun team in the league to watch. I think that team could be good.
I'm curious what you guys think of, because this is so important to who the Pacers can become. The Tyrese Halliburton arc, I think, is worth diving into a little bit. And this is a strange parallel. And admittedly, it's because I watched the Niners-Cowboys game last night. But Brock Purdy in the NFL space is this guy who has become a star very quickly, shocked a lot of people. There's a parallel where I think about a guy like Tyrese. So when Brock has a great debut season, a lot of folks in the media start essentially saying there's no way he can do that again. Which, the argument among his supporters was, in what world, when it comes to athletes, are we predicting that, they were this good last year right at the beginning of their pro career, and they're going to get worse? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Do you feel that way about Tyrese? Because that was a pretty special season that
Brett,
he had
he just
last
wanted
year.
to get a Brock Purdy, screw the haters in. He needed
That's
to get
right.
that taken.
My Niners rolling.
I
But-
actually went to that game last night. It was
Did you? Wow.
It was the stomping. What
It was
like
a stomping.
45-10 or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I want to see, Halliburton. What did he play? 56 games last year, I think I saw.
Mhm.
And they certainly fell off when he was out.
Yeah, he's got to stay. He's got to have a long, healthy season. I do like that their coach is Rick Carlisle, because it isn't a situation where the coach is like kind of lean developing. I mean, we kind of know Rick Carlisle, right? He's going to chase after every win. There's a lot of youth throughout the rotation. Jarris Walker, who played good in their preseason opener yesterday. He needs to get minutes. I'm curious Fred's thoughts about Obi Toppin. Like, is that, you covered him. Do you think he's gonna really pop for them? I mean, you start to get a fuller rotation if guys like that really show up. But I still feel like the meat of their rotation is a little bit young, unknown. Benedict Mathurin, I know he had a nice start breakout of his rookie year, but he kind of faded. Like, what is he at this point? He's still kind of inefficient. Doesn't pass much. 6 seems a little bold. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but I wouldn't pick. I don't think they're better than Miami personally.
Yeah, I just feel like their personnel actually fits together really well. You look at a lot of these young teams that are rising up a little bit, and often the personnel doesn't fit perfectly, because what you want to do when you're just building a team is you want to bring in the talent and then you figure out the rest later. You don't want to pass on someone who potentially is awesome and because you have another shooting guard. And so these young teams that are trying to come up often look like the Magic or something, who are talented, but could play an 8-man lineup of just power forwards and centers if they wanted to and justify it, even though they'd be breaking the rules. So what I think is partly interesting about the Pacers is how well their team fits. You asked me about Obi Toppin. I think he's a really good fit there. He's going to be really good in the movement offense with Rick Carlisle. He's a really good cutter. He's the way the Knicks used him was not, it was not complimentary of his skill set. He wasn't really running. He wasn't really setting screens, diving to the rim. He was mostly a standstill in the corner guy on offense. More than half of his shot attempts were 3-pointers. And he can hit them, but he's not a 3-point shooter. It's not the strength of his game. You want him screening and rolling and out in transition and using his athleticism. And the Knicks just couldn't find ways to optimize that. I think the Pacers will. I think they're going to have really good ball and player movement, because you look at those guys, like you mentioned, Mathurin, who is, I think had more turnovers than assists as a rookie, but he is explosive and he's moving and he's really good in transition. Like that bench unit, like if Mathurin is playing with that bench unit again, TJ McConnell is going to get steals and Mathurin's going to get out running. Like, I think the personnel fits each other really well, especially in that starting lineup. And Halliburton is the perfect point guard for those guys, because he's a facilitator first and foremost. He's really good at finding cutters, really good at finding 3-point shooters. He's hyper efficient. He has a chance to be 50, 40, 90. He was damn close last year on a high volume and averaged 20 and 10. I think he's 22 years old. He's going to keep getting better.
And he got that Team USA boost that might have helped him. I know the team obviously didn't do what they wanted to do. But he had some good moments with the national team.
Yeah. I think this team's good. I think they're legit good. And I think they're going to win 40-something games.
Well,
40,
we'll roll
I'll take the under and we'll track it all year.
I was going to say, I'm probably on
I'm going
Team
under
Slater. Team Slater. I think fighting for the play-on is where they're going to be.